No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mendel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Well, Jets head coach Rick Bowness got his wish. He's not going to go to Florida for the All-Star game. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Dave Minuk, with Ezra Ginsburg. I'm your host, Drew Mendel, here to discuss tonight's high-scoring, high-flying, no-defense pond hockey battle between the Detroit Red Wings and the Winnipeg Jets. The Motor City Boys defeating the Aviation Boys by a 7-5 margin in downtown Detroit Rock City, ending the Jets' winning streak at 5 games and the hopes of Rick Bowness behind the bench at the Central Division of the All-Star game. Dave's telling me I'm wrong.
I think you are wrong. I think actually Dallas has to win. If Dallas loses in the Jets,
it's 1-1 right now.
You know, I've seen conflicting things because is this
points
not
percentage, Drew?
It's points percentage, Drew.
But is this not Dallas's 42nd game of the year? I believe it is. I think.
What am I? NHL.com?
Oh, you're saying it's up? It's the points percentage based on 41 games?
Correct.
Oh,
you
know what, Drew? I will say, of the three of us, you are the one who is most versed in all-star traditions and lores. So I will defer to your greater
Drew
knowledge.
Loves every all-star game. There's nobody that loves all-star games like Drew.
Right. If you think I'm going to be turning on my TV for 1/2 of a second of that all-star game, you guys are completely delusional. But to be perfectly honest, I've seen both reported. I saw what I had said, that it was based on the points percentage after 41 games. I'd seen that from a Dallas reporter on Twitter earlier.
Sean, it was our boy Sean Shapiro.
No, it wasn't Sean Shapiro. I didn't think it was Sean Shapiro. I thought it was somebody else who covers the Stars. I'm going to see if I can find it up.
His name's Saad Youssef for the
Yes,
Athletic?
that's exactly who it was.
Yeah,
that's exactly who it was. As he Saad Youssef from who's he with? Who does he cover?
Athletic.
The Athletic. Okay.
Yep.
I saw that and I thought that he said it was after 41 games. So we will clearly find out the answer to that at some point in time.
How weird is it, by the way, boys, that Rick Bowness has never been to an All-Star game?
That's
2,600 games and he's never been to an All-Star game. So I'm actually rooting for him right now to get to an All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. I don't think he wants to go based on what he said, though.
Based on what he's been saying for the last 4 days, definitely not.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what the end result ends up being on that front. I'll see if I can find the information, but I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not going to look that hard for it because it's the All-Star game, and take it or leave it one way or the other.
Chat seems to think, Drew, that Dallas has to lose in regulation. We just had bad news as Blake, his comment up there. So it looks like that Dallas has to lose in regulation, but again, we'll try to confirm.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen conflicting things about it because Dallas has already played 41 games. This is, I believe, is their 42nd game. So I think based on the
I think Ryan Trapp has the comment of the show so far. This game looked like an All-Star game based on the score. I would agree with Ryan's assessment right there.
Yeah.
Well, neither team was playing the Trap Boys, I'll tell you that much. So it's a good thing that we put Ryan's comment up there because I think I know why Detroit isn't in a playoff spot right now, because defensively they are an absolute tire fire. Like, how many times this season, I'm not talking just about the Jets, boys, like how many times this season has a team looked that bad going up 4-1 and then earlier 3-0? Like, no lead was safe. Even, late in that game, I was joking. I came over and watched the third period here. Like, even when Detroit went up 6-4, I was like, this game is not even close to being over. So, I mean, look, the Red Wings get the win here, but I can't. Yeah.
We'll smile and wave. We're smiling and waving for everybody who has asked us and or going to ask us to smile and wave. So that's what we are doing. Again, just to go back. So Dallas has played 41 games. This is their 42nd game tonight. Mm-hmm. So they played 41 games and they have a points percentage of 659. The Jets have played 41 games now and they have a points percentage of 646. So that could be the determining factor as to why.
See you later, Rick Bowness. You ain't going to Florida. You'll stay in sunny Winnipeg.
He might still be going to Florida anyways for vacation. I mean, it's entirely possible that he's going to head down.
Hockey players don't like that.
He's definitely not going to Mazatlan.
Too soon,
We
Ezzy.
hope not, Ezzy. At least we hope not, at the very least. Yeah, T. Will now wants us to frown and give the finger. We won't do that, T. Will. But I appreciate the sentiment. We only take so many requests here on this post game show, talking about the Winnipeg Jets and the Detroit Red Wings. It is the Illegal Curve post game show brought to you by Betway on this Tuesday night as the clock strikes 9 p.m. Discussing the Jets and the Dallas Stars. Look, the Jets don't like this game. They like the offensive side of this game, but this is not a recipe for success. It's not a recipe for success for either team. But Detroit might not know how to play a different style of game, and that's okay. That's their problem. They're learning how to what it takes to be a winning team.
Well, sorry, Drew. I was just going to say the craziest thing about the Red Wings. I mean, they're a very mediocre team. I mean, we'll get into Jake Wallman's a good player like him, and I mean the speed and skill, the youth. I mean, Moritz Seider, reigning Calder Trophy winner, right? Lucas Raymond, he had a great rookie year. Like, there's a lot to like about the Wings. Andrew Kopp obviously gets on the board with some points, but I mean, this team is still, I think, a ways. Like, I equate the Red Wings with the Senators a bit, guys. Even though I thought the Senators would be higher up in the standings, but you look at the standings, like I'm pretty sure Detroit and Ottawa are like separated by a couple points right now. Especially with this win, that might have changed, right? Yeah, there you go. So I mean, Detroit and Ottawa were the teams that a lot of pundits were predicting at the beginning of the season were going to make the playoffs. But just watching this game, like, the Red Wings had lost 3 games in a row heading into this game, so they were desperate, but that was not desperate hockey. That was, as back and forth as it gets with just chances galore.
It was a young team, still a young team that has a lot of offense that doesn't realize that they can't run and gun their way to success. I mean, that's, and when you have youth on your side, they're more inclined to play an open style of game. Which is what you saw. It was back and forth. From a viewer's perspective, it was entertaining. I mean, you weren't bored because, there was a goal every, 3.5 minutes, more or less. From a coach's perspective, it's heartburn inducing. And, the Jets themselves, they know that that's not going to be a way, that's not how your game can look. On a regular basis, Dave, in order to be successful. It would be a lot more fun of a league if it was the 1980s all over again, and every game was 7-5 or 9-7 or 8-6 or whatever it is. But ultimately, it's not. And just really top to bottom, it was had way more of an all-star game feel, as was referenced, than anything that you would want to replicate on an ongoing basis.
Well, I mean, it's funny because what did we talk about in the last game against the Canucks? That the Jets finally looked like they were ready to start a game on time. Well, they did the opposite of that in this instance, in this game. So they quickly forgot whatever it was that they had learned on Sunday against the Canucks to close out that homestand, a perfect homestand. And as he said, winners of 5 straight, the Detroit Red Wings had lost 3 in a row. And while they have a winning record at home, I think they're 9-8-3. Although some would argue that's a losing record. They've been okay at Little Caesars Arena. And so, it was interesting because I didn't know how the Jets were going to look and how they were going to come out. And they really didn't look very good. And we don't know, obviously, and I highlighted the comment a few seconds ago, but by Brent Bellamy talking about Ville Heinola being sick. So we know that the lineup was a little bit adjusted from what it was expected to be because Dylan Sandberg and David Gustafsson weren't expected to play. It was supposed to be Ville Heinola and Kevin Stenlund. Kevin Stenlund didn't take the morning skate. He was under the weather, as detailed by head coach Rick Bowness. And then Ville Heinola wasn't out for warm-up. And so he too missed the game, which is unfortunate because I have to tell you, in a game like this, Ezzy, I think Ville Heinola probably would have excelled.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, that's definitely a storyline. By the way, Gus Bus had a beauty pass on the Nate Schmidt goal. So I was glad to see him back in the lineup. Shout out to Beer League, by the way. He's pulling out Bruce Sorrell. Obviously, he went to Kelvin, so I'm a proud Kelvin high school grad 2000. So I'd like to see the Bruce Sorrell, legendary coach at Kelvin High School. I believe he's the PE teacher there now. So he was the coach when I was in high school. That's incredible because that was 22 years ago. But
how was your athletic career at Kelvin, Ezzy?
I tried out for the hockey team. I didn't make the hockey team, but my claim to fame was I didn't make the team in grade 12. I knew I wasn't going to make the team, but I was the first overall pick in the Maccabi B League and won a championship with Denali. So,
and don't forget, you got school dances canceled for a significant period of time too.
Yeah, I drank some tequila before a dance once, a Mickey of tequila, I think in 20 minutes or something like that, and an ambulance had to be called. And my stomach was pumped, but yeah, it was a bit of a
2 kids. He's got 2 kids, folks.
Well, I didn't have kids when I was 17 in grade 12, Drew. But and it was a good dance. I don't remember a lot of it. But apparently, by the way, people told me that there was a police officer at the front, and apparently I was like giving him my debit card to get in, like as if I was so tanked at that point. I had no idea what was going on. Like, what was he going to do? Like, pull out a debit machine, and I was charging me $100 to get into the dance. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway, shout out to Kelvin Beer League. Apparently, he was a Kelvin Clipper, so. Thanks for bringing that up, Drew. Those were dark times back then.
I think I got
grounded for a couple of months. Like, my dad wasn't, he didn't go easy on me. He wasn't happy with me. Ended grade 12. That was at the beginning of grade 12. So I ended a little bit better than I started, but like the defensive play was a huge, issue, guys. And it wasn't like you can single out 1 or 2 players, right? Like we talked, Jake Wallman got the first goal, and obviously, danced Dylan DeMello a little bit there, but we're not going to single out DeMello or any one defenseman. I mean, this was a poor defensive effort from both teams. Mm-hmm. But look the Jets kept fighting back. But the issue is, and I'm sure you guys talked about this after the Jets Canucks game, I mean, it's not always going to, like, that recipe for success is not always going to work where, you don't have a very good first period. You go down a couple goals or 3 goals. And then because you're so talented offensively, you can just keep tying the game up and coming back. Like, they just ran out of time. Mm-hmm. And, especially when, Detroit went up a couple goals in the third period. I mean, it's really hard to do that 3 times, right? In a game when you're down 3-0 and then 4-1, you make it 4-3. But at a certain point, you kind of run out of gas, right? So give the Jets credit for continuing to fight back. But you rarely win games when you give up 7 goals.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're not going to win very many games when you give up 7 goals. And now you have to play a Buffalo team on Thursday. And oh, by the way, Buffalo has the second most goals for in the entire NHL.
8-2 in their last 10, Drew.
Yeah, exactly. They've been playing some very good hockey as of late. They've lost 2 in a row, but before that, they were certainly on a heater, as we talked about with Marty Biron on Saturday's show. So the Jets have to find a way, Dave, to sort of get back to the defensive structure that will lead them to success. And that wasn't it tonight. From top to bottom, I didn't think Connor Hellebuyck had his best game tonight by a long shot. I mean, not that any of the goals I would say were glaringly bad, but there were a number of them that he usually, I would say, makes the save on that somehow managed to elude him in tonight's contest. So the Jets, aren't happy with tonight. You can't be happy with tonight. You can be happy with the dynamic play of the Connor, Ehlers, Dubois line in the offensive side of things, because boy, they looked like they were having some fun out there again, and that is a load of a line to handle. But for over 60 minutes and for long-term success, this isn't what the Jets need to look like.
No, I mean, not from any stretch of the imagination. Connor Hellebuyck giving up 4 goals on 9 shots. That's not what you're used to seeing with Connor Hellebuyck. I mean, I'm sure he wanted to. He most likely had a lot of friends and family. We know his grade 3 teacher was in the house, and maybe he was feeling a lot of pressure to impress her and and those gathered in Little Caesars Arena, because I mean, I agree, he didn't play. You can't blame them all on him, but again, 4 goals and 9 shots is not great. Not a great look on him. And the defense, quite frankly, wasn't very good. There are a lot of guys, and we'll go through all the goals, right, Ez? But like, there are a lot of instances throughout the course of this hockey game where the Jets just didn't have it going on, and so it wasn't a good look. And you're right, Rick Bowness. I mean, it's funny, right, Drew? What did I say 2 games ago before the start of the Vancouver game? Maybe it's my fault, but I said the Jets and the Bruins were the last 2 teams with under 100 goals. And since that point, the Jets have given up 12. So they've gone from 99 to 111. Quite a little jump for a Winnipeg Jets club that had been defensively sound, relatively speaking. Mm-hmm. And the other piece of irony, of course, with the Jets having scored 12 goals in their last 2 games, Josh Morrissey doesn't have a point, which is rather remarkable given his success this season. But
he should have had a point on Scheifele's goal in the third.
He might not have a point, but I think he got at least a 9.8 or a 9.9 from the Russian judge
on
when he was
the
doing
triple
some of his,
Salchow.
on his dipsy doodling, because that was damn impressive. But you're right, no points on the score sheet, no points on the scoring ledger for Josh Morrissey, but a gold medal in the figure skating competition at the upcoming Olympics, whenever the next Olympics is.
Fine. Ian Bloomberg corrected me. It's 11 goals, right? Because it was 4 against Vancouver, 7 tonight. So 11, not 12. Sorry.
That's right. So
facts matter, folks.
Yeah, they just
thank you, Ian.
Back to the drawing board. And I know it's the problem is when you're playing against a run and gun sort of team is you end up getting into that track meet, because truthfully that's how the players want to play. Playing a up and back, pond hockey style game is more, natural and more entertaining from a player's perspective than it is playing a tight structure. They're not programmed to play tight structures. They do it because that's sort of how you have to win at the NHL level, Ezzy. But when you're truly having fun, and these guys are, playing hockey like they want to play, it's just back and forth, and it's just a very loose style. And that's, you sort of get roped into that when you play a team like Detroit in that way, and it's difficult to sort of overcome that sort of inclination.
Yeah, you've got the comment up from Rob Mahoney. I think that Hellebuck needed his grade 3 math teacher to count up all the goals that were going past him there. But you're right, Drew. I mean, I think the players, especially the skilled forwards, like you don't think Mark Scheifele and Nikolai Ehlers and Kyle Connor and Dubois were having a great time tonight. Morrissey, the forwards love it. The goaltenders definitely don't. And the coaches, more importantly, don't. And that's why we talked about it, right? Like, Rick Bowness, Scott Arniel, like the coaching staff, they're not going to be happy, with a lot of this game. And I mean, it's one of those games that, Paul Maurice used to say, you flush this one. And Drew mentioned this earlier. You've got a Sabres team that, yes, they've lost a couple games in a row, but they previously won 8 games in a row. And they're nipping at the heels of Pittsburgh, who they play the next night, right? Mm-hmm. So it goes back to kind of what we talked about on the Saturday morning show. Like the Jets have struggled, a little bit on the road here. They definitely haven't struggled at home. We know how good they've been at home, but against the Eastern Conference, I mean, you're going to have to tighten things up a little bit. And we obviously don't expect Buffalo to score 7 goals, but as you mentioned, Drew, this Sabres team can score with the best of them.
Second best power play in the league also.
Yeah,
so
you also might have Eric Comrie in net, by the way, because he, I believe, was officially activated.
He played tonight because
Jukka-Pekka Luukkonen was sick, right?
Exactly. He was sick and he was supposed to get the start. So you wonder if UPL is going to get the start on Thursday now if he's healthy, because Comrie unexpectedly got the start tonight, or does Comrie get it again against his old Jets team? That wouldn't surprise me either. But obviously we're getting ahead of ourselves looking at the starting goalie for the Sabres on Thursday when we have the Betway game recap to get to tonight. So we say good evening to everyone. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're live here on our YouTube channel. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg. Let's get into it. The Betway game recap is brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. With a large selection of betting options and sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly, and in Bones We Trust is correct. This is going to take a while, with 12 goals having been scored. Took a while on Sunday afternoon as well. Dave and I went through it, but let's get right into it to talk about tonight's game. Detroit opens the scoring. This is exactly what you don't want when you're a road team. Detroit opens the scoring at the 1:16 mark of the first period. It's Jake Walman. He gets his 4th of the year assist to Moritz Seider and Andrew Kopp. You'll be hearing Seider's name a whole bunch on during this Betway game recap. Walman takes the D-to-D pass, and then he sort of just dekes out and avoids a little bit of a weak stick check from Dylan DeMello, and is able to get to soft ice in the slot and just absolutely wires it past Connor Hellebuck through some traffic to give Detroit the early 1-0 lead. Again, just not the way you want to play this. DeMello's soft and he's out of position, I would say. Say too high, is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, he was too high. The way you described it is right. Like, he's chasing Jake Walman a bit. By the way, I'm not a Red Wings fan, but what do Red Wings fans think about 96? I'd like to know, because we know who wore 96, Thomas Holmstrom, and Holmstrom's number hasn't been obviously retired. You could argue that it should be retired, even though during the regular season he wasn't, as prolific as Fedorov or Yzerman. But Holmstrom had 4 cups, I believe, right? At least 3. I just thought that was a little interesting that Jake Wallman wears 96 when Holmstrom was such a revered Red Wing. Anyways, maybe people in the chat agree with me.
I'm going to bet absolutely nobody else thought about that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I can speak for myself.
Chat, back me up here. Holmstrom, how many years? Dave used to live in Michigan. How many years did Holmstrom play for the Red Wings? At least 10, maybe 12 or 13, and he won all those cups. I just think, I don't know. Maybe people don't care. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about number 9. With Winnipeg, right? A bunch of players have worn number 9, and that was famously worn by Bobby Hull, but it's different franchises. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw that in there. To me, it's a little bit weird to see.
As he was like 14 or 15 seasons in Detroit.
There you go. Holmstrom. I mean, so I'm just saying, Holmstrom was he's one of the most popular Red Wings of all time. Anyways, nice to see Konstantinov at the game, by the way. On this game, this is just a nice play by Jake Wallman. He puts a nice move, and as you mentioned, just wasn't a very good check by DeMello, loses him a little bit. And, you initially watch that and you say, okay, that shot was from a little bit far out. Hellebuck should have had that, but it was a pretty nice shot.
Yeah, there's lots of traffic. I don't have a problem with the goal being given up. I just don't like the Jets' structure, and I don't like the Jets play in their own zone that to lead to the goal, Dave.
No, I mean, again, we talk about it. What's the one thing? It's your first game on the road. And look, you got a lot of games on the road, right? You only come home for that one game against the Coyotes on Sunday, and then you're back out on the road for another 3 games. So, the Jets are going to be a road team. They're going to be road warriors.
Another 5 games.
Oh, that's right. It's 5 games, right? So it's 3, 1, and then 5. So right. The reality is that you're going to be on the road for a while, and you got to be ready to play some road hockey. And they weren't, and they were loose. And I said this as a joke in our group chat, but wasn't being super sarcastic. Well, maybe a little bit, but what do the Wings have to play for? The Wings don't care. So the Wings are loose, and they just, they go out there, and then I'm sure there's a little extra incentive for Andrew Kopp. And, I'm not sure. And Ben Sherratt, of course, the Jets have already faced, but, I'm sure there's a little extra incentive for Kopp. And I'm sure there was a nice little dinner with those guys and him and some of the Jets last night. But I saw in the chat some folks were saying, what the hell did Andrew Kopp feed these guys?
By the way, that was not a good game for Ben Sherratt.
No,
Sherratt looked like
let me tell you,
slow. He looked like he was getting beat pretty bad tonight.
The biggest fleecing in the history of the world was that trade that the Montreal Canadiens and led with the Florida Panthers to when they somehow dealt Ben Sherratt for a first-round pick last year.
Sherratt's a solid defenseman, Dave. I just think on a good team, he's a third-pairing defenseman. I just think he's lost a step a little bit. He's not over the hill by any stretch, because what is he, 32, 33 years old now? I just feel like he's not as quick as he used to be. And I thought you noticed that, against a very quick Jets team tonight.
Well, there's a lot of Moritz Seider's analytical numbers are down significantly this year, and there's a lot of attribution to the fact that he's playing with Ben Sherratt, and it's Sherratt who's really dragging him down.
Seider's going to be a hell of a good player.
Well, I mean, he ended up with four assists in tonight's game.
I mean, but that I'm not saying that based on that. I mean, he's just very talented.
Well, and you have, I understand why Derek Lalonde has them paired up, right, Drew? Because Sherratt's more of a veteran, stay-at-home kind of defenseman, right? But yeah, no, he's.
Wait, by the way, boys,
he's not having a year to write home about. That's for sure.
For the record, this is going to be one hell of a recap because we've done 1 goal.
And we're 23 minutes in.
We're 23 minutes into this terrible hockey game, and we've got 1 goal done.
Well, let's get into it. The second goal, it's Jonathan Berggren, a player I'm not terribly familiar with, believe it or not.
Is it Jonathan or Jonathan?
I don't know. I'm going to call him Jonathan. It's probably Jonathan, but, again.
I just make him Israeli.
Yeah, well, whatever it is. It's Berggren. Can we agree that it's Berggren? I think we can.
Sure, Jonathan, he's Swedish.
Yeah, I know he's Swedish. But
Jonathan is a Swedish name. Can be Israeli too.
Also a Hebrew name.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So
well, my dad is John, it's not short for anything. It's John.
Well, what's his Hebrew name?
Way, and the second goal analysis will start in about 10 minutes.
Well, Drew, if we have 12 goals to get through, and we're talking about our family's Hebrew names, then it's really good.
Yeah, I agree with Lisa's assessment. Good thing the game started at 6. Otherwise, we'd be doing this till 2 a.m.
If this was already, thank God it's 9:18 and not.
It's a good thing Naomi's asleep because she would be letting me have it right now.
Anyways, Berggren, whatever you want to call him by his first name, gets his 7th of the year.
Johnny B.
assist to Andrew Kopp and another assist to Moritz Seider. So 2 points each for those guys are early in this game. It's a great pass from Kopp, but Berggren just, Pierre-Luc Dubois is Berggren's guy, and he just loses Berggren. Berggren comes in from the point, and he gets into that soft ice, and it's a one-timer snapshot to beat Connor Hellebuyck, and you can see PLD with feelings of regret immediately on the video of the goal, because he just, he's up at the point, and he just loses Berggren. He just does not stick with his guy, and Kopp finds him with the great pass.
Yeah, and I don't think I can, and for the mercy of the people that are watching the post-game show right now, Drew, I'll try to keep it brief. But yeah, you're right. I mean, again, the first couple of goals I think are similar, right? In that, you have you have a defenseman moving in from the point, although Berggren is not a defenseman, but you have Pierre-Luc Dubois, as you mentioned, uncharacteristically just loses him. And we'll get into some of the goals later, but same thing with Adam Lowry turning the puck over when the Jets are shorthanded, right? Like just uncharacteristic, just very soft in the defensive zone. So again, this goal, it's even strength. I mean, it's a goal that was easily preventable, but just not good coverage on Berggren there.
Exactly right, and yes, I promise you, we're not going to get too deep into the Hebrew names in tonight's contest. Kenny's water bottle.
For those who don't know, Ezra in Hebrew means help.
What is your Hebrew name, Ezra?
I don't have one.
Really? You don't?
And I don't have a middle name either, as you know.
I did know that. Yes, Dave, are you David in Hebrew?
Nope, Dove.
Dove. Okay, that makes sense.
Which means bear, for the record.
Yes, you are a bear, and perfectly in keeping with my Hebrew. My Hebrew name is Simcha, which
celebration.
Simcha, celebration, happiness. Because really, when you think about me, the one word that immediately comes to mind is happiness. It doesn't mean.
I thought your Hebrew name was Oy Drew.
Well,
Believe me, if that was everybody's Hebrew name would be Oy watching this game, Ezzy.
Yeah, Detroit makes it. Detroit makes it 3-0 at the 15:27 mark of the first period. It's Oscar Sundqvist just as the power play ended. So it's not a power play goal, but the Jets player, I guess in this case it would be Carson Kuhlman, who was in the box, isn't able to get back into the play yet. He takes the pass on his forehand and sort of turns and fires in one motion, beating Connor Hellebuyck from right in the low slot to make it 3-0 for Detroit before the first period is up. So things have gone from bad to worse to disaster for the Winnipeg Jets in the first period.
Yeah, and again, I'll try to keep it brief here. And you mentioned, it comes. Just as the penalties expiring, Kuhlman's coming back onto the ice. But Sundqvist is a player you guys remember I always used to like on St. Louis when he was on St. Louis with Ivan Barbashev, right? Barbashev, Sundqvist, those were third, fourth line guys the year the Blues won the Stanley Cup. So just wanted to get that in there. Sundqvist, I think, has been a nice addition to the Red Wings team. David Perron, I didn't think, for a guy who has notoriously fed on the Jets when he was with the Blues and the Golden Knights. I don't even know if Perron even get an assist in this game. I don't know if he did, but he certainly didn't have the type of impact he's had before. So yeah, this is just a nice shot. Like, I mean, the Jets looked like they were going to get out of that one, scotch-free there. But again, I just thought that in their own zone, that was a huge issue with the first period, even though the Red Wings didn't have a ton of shots, and the Jets actually, were probably they were definitely the better team in the second and third periods. But the first period, you could argue the Jets were the better team, and it was just a nice shot by Sundqvist. And again, can't blame Hellebuyck on this one. Like, Hellebuyck can't be God every single game. You know what I mean? Like, he has a .930 save percentage. If he doesn't end up going to the All-Star game, I mean, why are we even having an All-Star game? It's just ridiculous if Hellebuyck ends up not being an All-Star. But again, I probably won't watch it regardless. But again, Sundqvist, that's a beautiful shot by him using his body. And it's obviously hard when, the turnaround wrist shot. So again, the Jets put themselves in a hole, but they managed to climb back in it, and we'll get into the next one.
They did manage to climb back in it before the first period was over. A minute and 50 seconds after Detroit makes it 3-0, Neil Pionk scores his 7th of the year assist to Scheifele and Perfetti to make it 3-1, Dave. And this is coming on an extended shift by the Jets in the Detroit zone where they're
Mhm.
cycling and they're keeping the Red Wings hemmed in. For many of the Red Wings players were on the ice for a minute 20, a minute 30, and it's Pionk takes the puck and gets it on net from the point, and it evades all the traffic in front. And I think Wheeler was in front among some
Yeah.
other players, and
Scheifele,
he beats Scheifele was there too, and he beats Ville Husso to make it 3-1, an important goal for the Jets at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, they hadn't been in the game much in that first period, and he gave them some life. And you're right, they were able to hem throughout the course of that shift. They were hemmed Detroit in the zone, and we talked about how they were able to get guys off the change line and do that. And Detroit was exhausted, and that's exactly what you want to see them do. And so in the end, they get rewarded, and they gives them some life. And suddenly it's a 3-1 hockey game, and you're thinking, okay, we've seen this script before. The Jets don't start the game on time, but they're in a hockey game against a bad Detroit team. Let's be honest. They aren't a very good hockey team. And so you're anticipating that this is a game within striking distance of the Jets because it's 3-1 going after 20 minutes. That's not an insurmountable lead by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, maybe obviously against a team like Boston, you're having a different conversation, but not against a team like Detroit. So if you're the Winnipeg Jets and you're going in having played a terrible, first period, and you've given up that many goals on that many shots for Connor Hellebuyck, you're thinking, okay, well, if you can get into the second and you can start on time, well, then you have a chance to get back into this hockey game.
They didn't. Spoiler alert.
Well, interestingly,
that's
they
not
did.
True. I guess they did, but they gave up the goal.
They did have. I mean, much like a lot of instances in this game, the Jets actually had chances, didn't convert them, and then subsequently the Detroit Red Wings did, and then added a little bit to their lead.
Before we get to the 4-1 goal, I just love Perfetti on this shift. Like, I'm sure you guys talked about it. Like, Perfetti, we know even though he just turned 21 years old, he's really hard on himself, right? He didn't have any points in his first 2 games back, but clearly, I mean, tonight he contributed, and I loved he was flying around the Red Wing zone looking like Ehlers, actually. I thought so. I love the fact that he was, cycling as Drew mentioned with Scheifele, and then he was making himself an option if Pionk wasn't going to shoot that. Perfetti was going to be an option for the one-timer there. So I just thought Perfetti, and we knew Perfetti was going to get better, Dave, as the games went on, but I thought this was easily his best game of the 3 since he's been back.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that comment. He was certainly noticeable for all the right reasons in tonight's game. And to be honest, I think that line needs him. That line, because, Wheeler is not the same Wheeler that he once was, as we all know, and we don't need to rehash. But Wheeler, as a third wheel on that line, if Scheifele and Perfetti are going, well, that's perfectly fine. But expecting Wheeler to maybe drive that line alongside Scheifele, he just doesn't have that part of his game anymore. He's a very good, wily veteran who can capitalize on the skill of Scheifele and Perfetti. But that line definitely, I mean, Scheifele's going to do his part, but it definitely needs Perfetti.
But you can also...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say quickly, Drew, you can also still see that Wheeler's just not there yet. I mean, that's, like I said, it's not a surprise.
I can relate to Wheeler, by the way.
Well, as you're slowly regaining your form, so it's good. Don't worry, just keep at it. Keep your commentary going, and eventually you're going to hit that Ginsburg form. But
keep icing, right? That's the key. That's what Drew keeps telling me. Just keep that ice on there, and it'll get better every day.
Absolutely.
I still ice, and I had my vasectomy 2 years ago.
But the point is that you'll see the bounce back happening with Ehlers a little quicker. You're seeing that bounce back happening with Perfetti a little bit quicker. Blake Wheeler, his timing just isn't there. You saw it on that 3-on-1 where his pass was a shade slow. There's just been a few instances.
I literally yelled to you, Dave. I was sitting beside you, and I was like, "Why didn't Wheeler shoot there?"
Yeah. There's been some. In the end, like
easy,
I said,
easy for me to say, right?
Yeah, it is. But that's why we do this show, Ezzy, because we sit here comfortably and we give analysis as opposed to trying to play the game. Continue.
4-1 it becomes for the Detroit Red Wings early in the second period. 2:57 in fact. Dominik Kubalik, his 13th of the season, assist to Oscar Sundqvist, and it's Neil Pionk mishandles the puck. The Jets are in a good position. He mishandles the puck at the Red Wings blue line, leading to the 2-on-1 that Kubalik is able to capitalize on. Look, it's a 2-on-1. So, it's hard to make a save on a 2-on-1, but I thought Hellebuyck was in a decent position here, and maybe it's a save we've seen him make. It's hard to really criticize a goalie, but this was a time I thought the Jets needed a stop.
Yes.
and they didn't get it. I think
and he usually does bail them out, and that's
right.
what it goes back to what we said at the beginning of the show, right? Like Connor Hellebuyck all year long, he's had a few bad games, but it's been very few. Like
few and far
maybe
between.
Exactly, maybe a couple, but you're right, Drew. I mean, you mentioned it. You know, it's a bad giveaway. It's Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, who's been playing probably his best hockey as of late. With guys coming back, he's a guy that we wondered if he might come out of the lineup for David Gustafsson, right? Because Gustafsson and Stenlund have been kind of sharing the fourth line center roles, but both of those guys can play on the wing, right? But the way Jonsson-Fjällby is playing, and obviously once Stenlund is back to full health, it could still be Stenlund coming in for Jonsson-Fjällby, but it's a pass that, and I'm not blaming AJF. I'm just saying, the puck bounces over Pionk's stick. And as you mentioned, we just talked about Sundqvist, who scored the Detroit Red Wings' third goal. It's a nice 2-on-1. And I thought Brendan Dillon played it, pretty well going, he drops down and tries to block the pass. And then Jonsson-Fjällby hustled and got his ass back and tried to break up the pass. But again, I mean, it was a 2-on-1, and, Kubelik is a guy, that has scored a lot of goals in the NHL. So, I mean, it's turnovers, it's bad defensive coverage. And even though the Jets, made it interesting there by making it a 1-goal game, again, you go down 4-1. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, the Detroit Red Wings, the Tampa Bay Lightning, whoever. It's tough to keep coming back like that. And even though they did, I mean, it's just, it's making it really hard on yourselves to do that. And I actually thought, Hellebuyck might be pulled after that goal, but we just haven't seen that a lot under Rick Bowness. But that was one goal, Drew, that I also thought that, that was definitely a stoppable shot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 9:46 mark of the second period, the Jets again cut it to a 2-goal lead. Sam Gagner gets his 8th of the year, assist to Gustafsson and AJF, Axel Jonsson-Fjällby. It starts sort of with Jonsson-Fjällby takes a wild shot in the Red Wing zone, misses by a country mile, but Gustafsson is quick on the puck, and that's what you want to see when a guy gets back in the lineup, and a guy who, that he hasn't been happy to be healthy scratched the last couple of games, but he picks up the loose puck, and from behind the net, he feeds it out front to Sam Gagner, who's in the slot in a good scoring position. And Gagner gets a little bit of revenge against his old team to cut the Red Wings lead back to 4-2, as you kind of feel like the Jets are never fully going to be out of this because of the loose nature of Detroit in their own zone, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, Drew. I mean, Dave Gustafsson, he's not feeling very good about himself because he wants to be an everyday NHLer. And when you're out of the lineup and you're sitting then watching the games from the press box or wherever he is watching the games, it's not a fun feeling. And again, there's there's guys that are getting healthy, and there's Saku Maenalainen who switched his jersey from, the pale blue or the light blue non-contact or light contact, to a regular jersey today. So he, as Rick Bowness said, is day to day. And that means you could have Saku Maenalainen available. And we can talk about that after the break as to what we might think happens in that regard, because of course the Jets are going to have to make a move because they're at the 23-man roster limit. But yeah, look,
somebody might have to go on waivers again, Dave.
Well, that would be my suspicion, unless they decide to just send Ville Heinola. That's the easy answer, is to send Ville Heinola, who of course is waiver exempt.
Well, but he was going to be in the lineup for tonight's game if it hadn't been for that sort of late illness. So I don't.
Sure, of course.
And like you said, we'll talk about it after the Betway game.
Yeah.
We still have many goals to go.
No, and look, Drew, I agree with you in the sense that it's possible that we don't. Anyways, we'll get into that after. All I'm saying is that you want to see that from Gustafsson. You want to see that hard work, and the one positive
pass, and we've said that so many times. Gustafsson's still looking for his first goal, Dave, which is it's going to come. It's going to come very soon. But you have to love that vision and those hands. Like he just absolutely threads the needle there.
Well, I mean, and again, like I said, you don't. The one thing with Gustafsson you don't want him playing a tentative game, which I think we saw in the penalty that he got called for. But because his game is having assurance himself, his knowing his role on that penalty kill. I mean, the goals, we've talked about it from your fourth line, they're gravy. If you can get them, that's fantastic. And look, at the end of the day, like Sam Gagner, I mean, what a benefit he's been from a salary cap perspective.
Sure.
I mean, I looked at it from. Remember, Paul Stastny and Sam Gagner were essentially the players that the Jets were looking to sign. Gagner signed for $1.5 million with Carolina. Gagner signed for $750K with the Jets, and Gagner has 8 goals and 6 assists. And I think Stastny has either 2 goals, I think 2 goals and 11 assists. But I'm just saying that it's for a team like the Jets who were able to carry 29 players on their roster 6 on IR and 23 on the main roster because of the fact that they've managed the salary cap the way it is. That's a huge benefit for them.
Sam Gagner, Dave, is like when you see a really nice pair of shoes that were like $150 regular price, but you go to Winners and they're like $30. That's what Sam Gagner has been. He's been a bargain basement find, right? Like, yeah. And I agree. I mean, he just celebrated his 1000th game. That was an amazing ceremony. I agree. I mean, again, Gagner is a guy that ideally I think you want on your fourth line or third line, but I think for him, he's a guy that can move up in your top six, your top line, and play on your second power play unit. Yeah. He's had his struggles this year. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's had, what did he go, 10, 11, 12 games or whatever without a goal. Yep. But for a guy that's already got 8 goals, like he's on pace for 16 goals, like for less than $1 million, like I think the Jets and Chevy will take that.
I've seen your shoes, Ginsburg. You're still looking for that bargain at Winners, undoubtedly.
Yeah, I'm still wearing Birkenstocks.
Nate Schmidt makes it 4-3. It's at the 12:08 mark of the second period, his 4th of the season. Assist to Cole Perfetti and Blake Wheeler. Perfetti really is the one who makes this play. He does a great job losing Olli Maatta, shaking off Olli Maatta, and then picking up the puck, taking it behind the net, behind the goal line, and he finds Nate Schmidt, who's cutting in and driving hard from the defensive position to get into a good scoring opportunity. The defense are coming. Nate Schmidt came on this play to make it 4-3 for the Red Wings at this later stage of the back half of the second period.
Yeah, see, Bells is agreeing with me. Brent Bellamy of the Winnipeg Free Press. Love the picture of Waterloo Street, by the way. Brent posted a picture of Waterloo Street when it was first back in I guess that would have been the 1950s or something like that. And then today looked pretty cool. Love the old architecture pics. Anyways, we'll keep it to hockey here, but I wanted to give Brent a shout out for that. Yeah, I mean, this is just an absolutely beautiful assist. And you mentioned, Perfetti's work behind the net with Olli Maatta there. Olli Maatta, again, like to me, the Red Wings, that's the biggest issue with the Red Wings right now, similar to the Senators, right? Like, you've got a lot of talent on the back end when it comes to, Moritz Seider specifically, but, Olli Maatta, Ben Chiarot, to me, like these guys are anyways. Ben Chiarot had Scheifele in front of the net there. And then I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, boys, it was the fourth line of the Red Wings against the Scheifele line. I know that Dominic Kubalik was out there and he just doesn't pick up Nate Schmidt. So yeah, beauty pass from Perfetti to Schmidt. And we talked about it. I mean, Perfetti was feeling it today. You could see he was way more confident and he was getting the results on the score sheet. So that was a really nice goal to bring the Jets within one.
And to play Mambo number 5.
Exactly.
Did you play that?
Drew, we didn't play that, Drew, because he didn't get it to the third period. If Ezzy would have been here, then maybe we would have considered.
I still say that the Jets players should get to pick their goals like a second half goal song.
Like a second half of the season goal song?
Yeah, like they should all get to pick, and maybe some of them want to keep their goal songs, but I think it'd be cool if they switched it up a little bit.
But Drew, you did make an interesting observation about the defense and scoring from the back end, because I don't know what they're up to now, but
23.
23. Okay, yeah. So there you go. And it's I mean, again, considering what did they have last year? The entire season. What was it? Was
16 or something?
It was 18, I think, maybe, or 20. It was either 18 or 21. It was a low number. And the reality is that Rick Bowness is, he's got more than what he wanted. I think he wanted 44 from the back end this year. So he's doing that. And look, Nate Schmidt has 4 goals already this year. He had 4 goals all of last season. So, I mean, you're getting the contributions from the back end, and it is big. But more importantly, one of the things that I'm sure Rick Bowness is saying in his post-game comments, Drew, is the idea that this team needs to play better defensively. Because that was not, look, as you said from the outset, and we'll get into it because we still have to get to the third period, but the reality is you can't win playoff games like this. You can't play this loose. I don't care who the team is, whether the best team in the NHL or the worst team in the NHL. You cannot play loose hockey like this and expect to win in the playoffs. Look, for the record, can't win it in the regular season sometimes, let alone in the playoffs. So the Jets are better than this, and they didn't show it tonight. But right now, sorry, Drew, we're only at where are we right now? What is this score?
4-3.
4-3. So right now, folks are thinking maybe the Jets can get back into this one.
We're past the midway point, boys.
Yes, we are just a little bit over the halfway point. Thank goodness. The Red Wings get another goal before the second period is up. And you thought this one might be the killer, but the Jets did fight back again. Dylan Larkin on the power play. It's a 5-on-3 man advantage with both Gustafsson and Dylan in the box for tripping and high sticking, respectively. Offensively, it's Dylan Larkin, his 14th assist to Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond, and Adam Lowry is going to be ruining this one in his dreams for the next little while. It's on his stick. It's a simple clear, and he just absolutely gaffs on it, and it ends up moving around Seider to Larkin with a one-timer to beat Connor Hellebuyck. And look, again, it's a 5-on-3 situation, but I thought Hellebuyck was in position here to make the save. I thought he anticipated the play pretty well and was in a decent enough position, and it sort of goes through him. Again, it's not a goal that you're going to say is a bad goal per se, but it's a goal where I think more often than not, he probably makes that save. I didn't think that necessarily, and I'm sure people might disagree with me, didn't look to me like Dylan Larkin got all of it. That he got, and that Hellebuyck wasn't yet in position. I thought he was there, and it maybe squeaked through him. But regardless,
I think you're right. Yeah,
it's Adam Lowry who's going to hate that he didn't get this one out.
Yeah, and that's obviously the low hanging fruit. Anybody who was watching the game, cringed when that happened, because it looked like Lowry had complete control of the puck, and then he was just going to clear it, right? And you got to give him the benefit of the doubt here, because he has been an absolute warrior all season long on the penalty kill. He's a human being. Guys make mistakes. Like even Wayne Gretzky makes mistakes. Connor McDavid makes mistakes, right? The best players. Drew Mandel makes mistakes, right? Dave M never makes mistakes. But so I mean, it was a turnover by Lowry. And in terms of the shot, I mean, Moritz Seider, you got to respect his shot. He's got a big booming shot, right? Yeah. And it's obviously, Dylan Larkin's got a pretty good release himself, right? Mm-hmm. So you're right, though, Drew. I mean, it looked like, Hellebuyck had a chance on that one. But whenever you're going, right to left and you're kind of, respecting the point shot, and then you're going to the other side. I mean, I don't know if you're going to fault Hellebuyck on a 5-on-3, like we talked about, right? Like Vancouver had, am I getting games confused here? The Lightning game. Was it the Lightning game or the Canucks game? I'm getting them confused, where the Jets scored 2 5-on-3 goals. Pretty sure it was the Lightning game, because I didn't do the post game for the Canucks game. So, I mean, you expect to score on a 5-on-3 almost, especially, the way the Jets power play has been performing. So again, a costly turnover, but as you mentioned, the Jets were able to pull within one again. Looked like, that was going to be the killer goal from the Red Wings, but it obviously wasn't.
Mercifully, we're now through 40 minutes of this game and the Betway game recap here. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show, 20 minutes before the top of the hour on this Tuesday night. The Jets open the third period as you need to when you're down by 2 goals. In a blink of an eye, Nikolai Ehlers, who apparently had a rocket strapped to him on this goal, he gets his second of the year. Assist to Kyle Connor and Neil Pionk, and tons of skill on display here. Kyle Connor with the spin move and sort of and passes it up to Nikolai Ehlers almost in one false swoop, and then Ehlers coming in. I mean, it's a 2-on-1, but he's not looking to pass on this one. There was no pass opportunity. He was full steam ahead, and that's going to be a nightmare situation for any goaltender in this league, Dave. And he makes no mistake beating Ville Husso. I believe it was 5-hole, but just an absolute beautiful play that starts in the Jets' own zone and right at the blue line by Kyle Connor to send in Ehlers all alone.
Yep, and that was the 30th assist of the season for Kyle Connor, his 50th point, 6th straight season for him with 50, and at least 50, I should say. And he is, of course, on pace for 100 this year, which would be the first time in his career that he ever hits that mark. And amazing, given, like we said on the last show, how it didn't seem like he was going to get to 20 goals, 30 goals. We weren't sure. Now he's on pace for 40 goals, 60 assists, and 100 points this year. So a remarkable story for Kyle Connor. And yeah, Nikolai Ehlers, I mean, that's probably the most important element out of this game, is that Nikolai Ehlers is starting to look more and more like Nikolai Ehlers that you've come to expect, and that Jets fans were hoping they would have seen for 36 games that he missed between game 2 and game 39. But, if you can get him back and you can get that line playing, and if Cole Perfetti, and as he talked about it, Cole Perfetti is going, like Blake Wheeler is a little, I mean, I almost wonder if you're better off having Wheeler on that third line right now to get him a little bit more time. And we can talk about the lines after the commercial break. But to me, there's a benefit, I think, to that potentially. But right now, look, you're coming on a 5-game win streak, so it's hard to critique the Jets prior to today's game. Of course, we're going to critique them. But what I would suggest is that the Ehlers line is just really flying right now, and he himself looked really good. So yeah, if you're a Jets fan and suddenly it's a 5-4 hockey game, you're thinking to yourself, how are we even in this game? You don't deserve to be in this game. And yet, again, because of the way Detroit's playing, you are in this hockey game. So with 33 seconds into that third period, suddenly things are looking up, which is shocking given the way the game had gone to that point.
Yeah, exactly right. Unfortunately, the good times don't last long. They last for a minute and 19 seconds, Detroit. Detroit gets punched. They counter punch real quick. Robbie Fabry, his second of the year. It's been an injury-riddled season for him. And then assist to Lindstrom and Veleno. It's a beautiful tip. Just an absolutely great redirection by Fabry. But Morgan Barron is covering him. He just doesn't tie up the stick. And it doesn't look like Fabry's in a great position to make the redirection. But he's a veteran player. He knows how to do things, in this league and how to, get that stick into a good position, and he does so, and he redirects it past Connor Hellebuyck to give the Red Wings the 6-4 lead, to expand it back to a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, I like what Spencer said, just as a side, putting Lowry back on Scheifele's wing, and then, Wheeler playing third line center, right? We saw that last year. We haven't seen that, this year. That's something, maybe a Saturday morning topic, but I like that Spency, I like where his head's at there. But yeah, look at, we talked about it. You thought at 3-0, 4-1, 5-3 that the Red Wings, might have sealed the deal, but it really wasn't until the 6-4 goal that they sealed the deal. And Robbie Fabry, as you mentioned, Drew, not only has he had, injury problems as of late, he's had injury problems throughout his career, going back to the Blues. And you're right, between the legs tip there. No one's going to fault Hellebuyck on that one. We talked about, the Jake Wallman goal, or maybe, he could have got across a little bit quicker and stopped the Dylan Larkin power play goal. But on this one, that's just a beautiful tip. And that really was the final nail in the coffin for the Jets tonight.
But they got close again. It wasn't.
And by the way, Drew, remember, just before that goal, it was a 3-on-1 for the Jets that had Wheeler converted that 3-on-1.
It's a tie game.
It's a tie hockey game,
and Neil Pionk does hit the crossbar after Scheifele's goal as well, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's amazing to think that if they convert that, because right after they didn't, it was 15 seconds later is when Detroit regained the 2-goal lead.
That's right. It just, it was that close. The Jets you just felt like they were never quite able to get over the mountain of officially tying the game tonight. They got so close on so many different opportunities, including, of course, Neil Pionk, hitting the post in that instance, after the Jets made it 6-5, but they weren't able to just tie it up. Speaking of 6-5, it comes on the power play with 5 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the game. Mark Scheifele, his 24th of the season, assist to Pierre-Luc Dubois and Nikolai Ehlers. Just an absolutely, he's not on the scoreboard. So if you're just looking at the score sheet and you didn't see this play, it's a wonderful play by Josh Morrissey. He knows that Ehlers is going to negate any icing. So he slaps it in from beyond the red line. Ehlers, of course, negates that icing, gets the puck, almost gets an opportunity as a result of it coming off of the end boards. It doesn't end up in an opportunity, but it ends up eventually on the stick of Pierre-Luc Dubois. He rings it off the post, and then Mark Scheifele is there to clean up the garbage to make it 6-5 for the Jets, and there's going to be a hectic final 5 minutes in the game at this point in time.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned Morrissey's intentional slap there was really smart, and you're right. If anybody deserved an assist on this goal, but they were moving the puck well. We talked about Fabry, scored the sixth goal for the Red Wings. Just a dumb penalty to take at that point in the game. I thought, I was telling Dave, the Red Wings are lucky to be up a couple goals, and you got the feeling okay, you give the Jets a power play, they're probably going to score, and they did. So you're right. The little fortuitous Dubois, the bounce comes right to Scheifele, and Moritz Seider just doesn't react quickly enough, to disrupt the play there and get a stick or whatever on Scheifele. So look they made it interesting there, but like I said, how many times can you keep coming back from 2-goal, 3-goal deficits, right? The Jets made it close, but Larkin's goal ended up being the game winner. And again, it was entertaining and everything like that. But again, I think the coaching staff is going to be giving the Jets a little bit of a tongue lashing if they haven't already.
That's right. And the Jets, as I said, they got close. It's 6-5 at this point in time. They're applying the pressure. They're keeping the Red Wings hemmed into their own zone. Neil Pionk hits the post or hits the crossbar and comes that close to tying the game. But with the net empty and with Connor Hellebuyck on the bench as the Jets again were controlling the play, it's a turnover in the offensive zone, in the Red Wing zone. Nikolai Ehlers, I thought, was maybe being a little bit too cute, a little bit too pretty in this instance. It's a turnover. It ends up on the stick of Dylan Larkin. He headmans it to Lucas Raymond, and Lucas Raymond finally wraps up the Betway game recap.
Oh, you don't want to break down that goal?
You can break it down by all means.
No.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm good.
You want to? How much longer you want to be here, my man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, Lucas Raymond, it's his 11th of the year. Assist to Dylan Larkin, and that wraps it up. 7-5 is the final score in tonight's game.
Dallas won 2-1 in a shootout, by the way. So it looks like
that game recap would have been a lot quicker.
Unfortunately, Bones isn't going to be going to the All-Star game. I was hoping for him, but
yes, I know, but no, it's going to be. It's not going to be Rick Bowness at the All-Star game. It's not the Winnipeg Jets night. They dropped the decision in Detroit by that exhilarating 7-5 margin. As the Jets finish up the first 41 games of the regular season, the official halfway mark of the regular season, with a very impressive record of 26, 14-1, good for 53 points, 1 point behind the division leading. No, I guess I need to refresh that because Dallas has played 42 games.
The Jets are 3 point back.
3 points behind Dallas. Yeah, I hadn't refreshed yet. 3 points
with a game in hand.
Dallas, with a game in hand, firmly in a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Let's go to that's funny. I'm not even going to read it but that's a funny comment.
Last post game winner, Glenn Howard. He takes it down on the. He said the Betway game recap was so long as these tubes grew back. Come on, Drew. You got to think about the people in the pot who are listening.
Winnipeg Jets might be getting a tough duck tooth for that one.
Yeah,
it'll go with the merch that he just got. So
true. He was the merchandise winner on. He was the merchandise winner on Sunday. Speaking of the merchandise, speaking of tough duck, when we come back, we'll do some.
Nobody's getting this one. Nobody's getting it. Sorry, Frosty. He's been trying, doing all his little Detroit Rock City 8 Mile, which was Ezzy's suggestion. No, I went off the board, folks. When you have good Detroit knowledge like I do, you ain't getting it.
When we come back, we'll tell you the unique code word and more on the Jets' loss in Detroit. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Tuesday night. Stay with us. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No
Yep.
way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Tuesday evening, 5 minutes before the top of the hour. Drew Mandel.
It's almost Wednesday evening, Drew.
Not quite yet. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you talking about the Jets' defeat in Detroit 7-5. Some non-hockey news, a number of reports coming out that the Vince McMahon and the WWE have been sold.
Disney?
No, to the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. Which is, of course, doing a lot of making a lot of purchases and doing a lot of things.
Well, WWE has gone to Saudi Arabia before.
They have. I think they have a contract or an agreement with them to do maybe 2 or 3 shows a year there. But a number of reports that the entire business has been sold to the Saudi Arabia.
Are they the same ones who own Live?
Yes, they are. It's the same organization.
Hold on, wait 1 second, guys. Breaking news: Illegal Curve Hockey has now been sold to the Saudi interests.
I was going to say we've been trying to sell to the Saudis for years.
For the record, we will now no longer be called the Hebrew Hockey Hour.
We are now officially the non-denominational hockey show.
Okay, you guys know I'm a wrestling fan, so I don't really know if this impacts me as a fan or maybe people in the chat like wrestling. I don't know if people care about this. But I do have one question. How do you think Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon feel? Like, do you think that they thought that they were going to inherit this the whole time? Because now they don't.
Yeah, but they're counting all their money, though.
Well, no, I'm sure that they're going to be happy with look, they're multi-millionaires, if not billionaires.
Billionaires.
But I'm just saying, I wonder if Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon are a little bit upset that they were the heir apparents, right?
I'm pretty sure that they can. I'm pretty sure that they can afford to buy their own, start their own wrestling organization if they want to. I'm sure there's a no compete clause, but no details about the price.
All right, folks.
Like
and for the record, Illegal Curve is unsellable.
It's true.
Nobody wants to buy us.
No, we've tried to sell them. We've really put it up. We've put it up for.
Yeah, didn't we have it on Craigslist, Drew, for a few years?
Yeah, we were willing to consider interesting trades.
Yeah,
it didn't even have to be John Voight's car. We were willing to take John Voight's car, Voight's pencil with the bite marks. We were willing to take any sort of price for it, but nobody was stepping up.
Didn't the Score try to buy us right before the Jets came back? Do you remember that, guys?
Yes.
Remember, it seemed there was some type of unsolicited offer.
It was a solicited offer, but regardless, we told them to go below.
Yeah, they didn't mean they couldn't
suck a lollipop, as Drew likes to say.
That's true. I do like this. That is one of my go-to phrases. Go suck a lollipop. Speaking of, forget it. I got no segue there. I got no tangent.
Well, you went with, hey, sorry, Drew. You started this with the whole. Let's talk about the WWE for God's sakes.
Well, I'm hoping that Ginsburg has a tough talk, hardest hitting comment, but I also think that he may have completely forgotten to do that during the.
No, hold on. Give me 1 sec here. I'll send it to you.
So Jason Eastwood. Sold.
Yeah, there you go, Anthony. Exactly. Did you steal it from from him in Central Park when he was exercising? I couldn't think about the actor that they mentioned on Seinfeld. I remember John Voight's pencil, John Voight's car, but I couldn't remember. There you go. Congratulations, Spencer. $6.99. It's now the Spency Show, brought to you from Spencer's Hot Tub, only on New Year's Eve.
Let me tell you something. If I had the ability to make a quick overlay and make this the Spency Show, I would. But unfortunately, that takes me a little bit more time than I could right now while this show is going on. But thank you, Spency.
Yes, there you go. One day when Dave and I aren't able to do the post game show, we're just going to do a split screen. It's just going to be Ginsburg and Spencer on the screen.
Spency, Drew, not Spencer. Spency.
Sorry, Ginsburg and Spency. But we're not going to actually have the cryon that says who is who. So people are they're gonna dress exactly the same. We're gonna outfit them exactly the same, and it'll be and this way it'll be very confusing as to who is doing what. They'll be drinking at the same time. They'll be in the same hot tub. It'll be very confusing, but it'll make for some entertaining. What is this? Television? YouTube television? Whatever sort of
it's YouTube
broadcast platform. This is
best form of television, Drew. What are you talking about?
There you go. Ezzy, do you have a tough
comment for the? By the way, comment 2 things. Jay Gagnon, we are hearing from you. We can see your comments. In case you're wondering, you're on Facebook, but we can still see them in the chat. Well, Drew and I and Ezzy can. And Comet still wants your father-in-law's clock there, Drew. So maybe we should make like a little small, like you know how the Jets give away like bobbleheads. Maybe we should give away like little grandfather clocks.
That could be
first 100 YouTubers get a Drew's grandfather clock, and then like every time it beeps, instead of like a little cuckoo bird coming out, it's Drew's face, and it says "Good morning, universe. Good morning, Manitoba."
Do you know how many people would take this? They would take a sledgehammer to it, then they would find an incinerator and put it in that, and then they would set off some sort of nuclear fission explosion to get rid of that thing as quickly as they humanly can. Dave, that's how bad that thing would be for people.
I'd be into it.
I'd
put up one of those. I'd be into that, Drew. I'd support you.
I appreciate that. While Ginsburg's looking for the tough duck hardest hitting comment, why don't we switch things around?
There's so many good comments. I'm trying to isolate the best ones. Give me 1 minute, Drew. I'm getting close here. I'm narrowing it down.
I'm not going to try and put my thumb on the scale, but if Darwin Moore could win, although Darwin has a jet skier coming his way, so I mean maybe he shouldn't be so greedy, but.
Let's do the merchandise contest. The unique code word for the illegal curve merchandise contest. Again, if you're trying to figure out how to enter the illegal curve merchandise contest, in the show description here on YouTube, click the link. It says contest link. Click it. It gives you a whole list of things that you can do to gain entries into the illegal curve contest. If you can't find it in the YouTube show description for some reason, go to our website, illegalcurve.com. Click on basically any article. You'll find it there. You'll see all the things you can do. One of those things is entering the unique code, which for tonight's show, and Dave M is going to explain it, is all one word, West Riverfront Park.
Well, West
Riverfront Park. Dave, you lived in Detroit. Explain.
I didn't live in Detroit, but I lived in about an hour.
You spent enough time in Detroit that you can say you lived there. Explain what West Riverfront Park is.
West Riverfront Park is, drum roll, please.
Dun, 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 dun.
Drum roll, but okay, I'll go with it anyways. It is right outside of Joe Louis Arena because, of course, Joe Louis Arena is being knocked down, and it is the walkway that goes right along the river, the Detroit River. So for those of you who have walked from anywhere in Detroit and towards the Joe Louis Arena and walked along the river, they've converted it. It used to be all kind of this, I don't want to say run down, but it was a little bit run down, and now they're converting it into this real nice stretch of parkland. So it's part of the revitalization of Detroit. Detroit's pretty fun little city to check out, like a lot of U.S. cities. And there's some good parts, of course, and there's some bad parts. But the sports area is incredible, and where they've put Little Caesars Arena, which is right near Comerica, which is right near Ford Field, is awesome. Like it really is, and it's right near the theater, and it's right near Hockeytown, USA. So there's a lot of cool history in Detroit, and West Riverfront Park is. It needed to go something off the board a little bit, and that's slightly off the board for those who might not get it. But if you've been to Detroit, it's a new park that is coming up, and it'll be quite a nice little stretch.
Okay, so West Riverfront Park is your unique code to enter for the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. All caps, all one word, West Riverfront Park. Merchandise winner for tonight's game.
Hold on. Un momento, por favor, because Jeff Cable's just brought up one of my favorite movies of all time, Beverly Hills Cop. And I wish that Detroit was like that, but it's not anymore.
Is it Cables? We need Jeff to tell us if it's Cables. I think it's Cabillas.
What did I say? What did I say? Isn't that what I said?
Cables.
Whatever. I thought it was Cables.
Provide us with some clarification, Jeff.
Okay, yeah. Give us the proper saying.
Jeff is our day one. Like, he's been with us. He's always in the chat.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And by the way, for the record, Drew, the winner of the Illegal Curve contest was in the chat during the game, and I wanted to tell them that they were the winner. I'm pretty sure they're still here, but there was about 15 people in the chat, and I think at least 5 of them had won the contest before. So I figured by process of elimination they might start, although you can win more than once, but I didn't want to give it away. They were there. I wanted to tell them, but I didn't want to ruin it. I wanted the anticipation to be here at the end of the post-game show. So winner is here in the chat, according to Drew. Let's hear the name. Let's see it. In Bones We Trust.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a deserving winner, somebody who's a regular here on this post-game show. He knows he's finally is able to hoist the cup. He is the victor of the Illegal Curve merchandise contest for tonight's game. So
see, Rick Bowness doesn't get to go to the All-Star game, but In Bones We Trust gets the Jets merchandise. See, everything's coming full circle for In Bones We Trust.
Yes, a well-deserving winner. He's been here. He's put in his time. He's put in the effort. He's done the heavy lifting. He's entered the contest.
He's like, thank God I don't have to watch these guys anymore.
He's entered the contests over and over and over and over and over again to generate the contest entries, and now he can take pride in the fact that In Bones We Trust, you have won the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. Yes, there he is, right there. There you go. In Bones We Trust. Congratulations to you. Dave will, of course, be in touch, so we do appreciate all of you. And
further to that, expect Friday, folks. Friday is going to be a busy delivery day for me, so I will be messaging you, emailing you. And so if you haven't gotten your IC gear, well, it's not really IC gear, it's Jets merch from IC, you will be getting it. Oh, I was going to highlight that comment, so thank you, Drew. I don't have to now.
Shout out to Erie, PA, by the way.
Yeah, so thank you, Stacey. We'll go to the Otter. We'll go to see the Otters for sure. But next time we're in PA.
There you go. That's terrific.
Shout out to Sherry Basson as well.
Of course, lots of ties between Sherry Basson and, of course, the fair city here of Winnipeg. You got a very dedicated owner there in Erie with Sherry Basson, who, of course, he's originally from Winnipeg, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly.
Or he's got Winnipeg ties for sure.
Yeah, definitely a lot of roots here to Winnipeg, so a lot of connectivity there. But Stacey, welcome to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, the Illegal Curve post game show. We do this after each and every Jets game, and again Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Next time we're going to do this, of course, and we're not going to wrap up before we have the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Next time we're going to do this is Thursday night, right around 8:45 p.m. Central Time, after the Jets and the Buffalo Sabres do battle. So we'll be back again in about a little less than 48 hours from now to do yet another post-game show. But before we go, we have a Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Mr. Ginsburg, I'm putting it up on the screen. Why don't you read the comment and announce the winner?
Yeah, we're going to give it to Andrea Kohak. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I liked her comment because, we talked about Pierre-Luc Dubois, even though, the Jets definitely weren't that great defensively. Offensively, Dubois only had 1 assist, but I thought he could have easily had, a goal or two, and definitely had another assist or two. He was really good. So I like this comment. Dubois missed lots tonight. Jets can't continue to not play at start of game. Have they not learned this year? Not learned this yet? Obviously not. I agree. The Vancouver game, obviously the Jets got the good start, but guys, we're 41 games into the season here. And, this has been a pretty big issue for the Jets. So you got to clean that up. You're facing a pretty good Buffalo team that wants to get into a playoff spot, and you're facing a Penguins team that
also wants to get
that isn't a playoff spot. By the way, I love that the team went to Chris Letang's. I'm not sure who that was in his family, but someone
his father.
It was his dad. So I love the fact that the Penguins went with Letang. That's shows you how classy.
Well, they didn't even go with him. He was already in Montreal. They flew from Arizona to Montreal.
Right. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Group.
So yeah. I love seeing stuff like that. That's just, we talked about Josh Morrissey's dad a lot last year. Like the fact that, you realize hockey is not as important as life, right? So these guys, they get behind one another. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent here. Andrea, send me an email, ezra@illegalcurve.com with your mailing address, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you.
There you go. Congratulations to Andrea. Congratulations to In Bones We Trust. Congratulations to all of you for joining us tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, and leave us some feedback, both here on the YouTube channel and on our iTunes page. We always appreciate the comments and the feedback regarding this fine program that we try and put forth to you on a regular basis. Big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve.
Where's Frosty? Let's go, Frosty.
Who make the Saturday show, who make the website a possibility. Our friends, of course, at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Sugar Sammy, in town Friday and Saturday. There are a handful of tickets left for Friday's late show, and I'm pretty sure all the other shows are sold out. But if you want to see Sugar Sammy, there's a few left for the Friday late show. Tyler Penner also at Rumors Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Get your tickets now, rumorscomedyclub.com. Our friend Dr. Les Rikus and the team at Linden Market Dental Center. For all your dental needs, you check out Linden Market Dental Center. Zappia Group Realty, you need them for your realty needs.
Frosty's missing a P, second P in Zappia.
There you go. He'll fix that up. I'm sure Frosty will fix that in no time flat. Betway, they're the official title sponsor of the post-game show. Tough Duck, hardest hitting comments, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg. Big thanks to all these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. We're next in action Thursday night, 8:45 p.m. Central Time, back here on our YouTube channel. We'll talk about the Jets and the Sabres that night. For Dave Minuk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. The Jets lose 7-5 in Detroit. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.